Like all films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Captain America the Winter Soldier is littered with hidden gems linking it to previous movies and the wider comic universe in general. This time around we got mentions and appearances in relation to all sorts of characters, nods towards potential upcoming projects, cameos from those who've had a big hand in the comics, all sorts of stuff. So let's take a look through them, bearing in mind this video is extremely spoiler heavy. So if you don't want to know anything about the film, why not come back here after you've seen it? The video will still be here, and then also you can leave an aggressive comment about something that I missed. So you know, it's a win-win. Let's start with the Iron Man mentions. Lots of those. Aside from being flat out name-dropped by S.H.I.E.L.D.'s Alexander Pierce, Tony Stark is referenced on multiple occasions. Nick Fury stated that the new Heli-Carrier engines have been improved by Stark after he got a closer look at them. And by closer look, they mean that time he was nearly battered to death in one. It was also revealed by Zola, a villain carried over from the first film, that his father, Howard Stark, was a founding member of S.H.I.E.L.D. and was eliminated by Hydra, meaning his supposed car accident wasn't an accident at all, because he was eliminated by Wade, I just said that. Also, when the Heli-Carriers are deliberately targeting those deemed a threat, there's a brief moment where we see the Stark Tower, now retitled and redesigned as the Avengers Tower. There's also references to some other Avengers. Nick Fury said that he used a drug developed by Bruce Banner to slow his heart to 1 beat per minute, allowing people to believe that he was dead. That was something apparently created in order to unsuccessfully keep the Hulk at bay. Black Widow was also wearing an arrow pendant around her neck, hinting at a possible relationship between herself and Clint Barton, also known as Hawkeye, who's seen prominently in the Avengers and Thor. You remember his moment from Thor, right? He went up in the cage and he had like an arrow and he held it there, but he didn't shoot it. Yeah, that was a really thrilling piece of cinema. Some future Avengers were also hinted at. Agent Sitwell makes a passing reference to Stephen Strange, aka Doctor Strange, when mentioning those who could possibly be future threats. Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch are obviously present in the mid-credits scene, also giving us a look at the villain Baron von Strucker, all of which will play a big role in the upcoming Avengers Age of Ultron. But also in this movie, we got a good look into Marvel's past. Aside from appearances from Peggy Carter, there was also a photo of Tommy Lee Jones's character, Colonel Chester Phillips, in that S.H.I.E.L.D. bunker they visited, plus the Howling Commandos uniforms are in the Captain America Museum that Captain America visits twice. That kind of makes him seem just a little bit self-involved. Though to be fair, the second time he went was simply to steal a uniform and to get Stan Lee fired. Oh, that's right, Stan Lee. There's a Stan Lee cameo. Now, he didn't create the Captain America character, but his first published work for Marvel, or Timely Comics as it was known then, was a Captain America story. He also invented the now iconic shield throw. That's pretty good, well done. If you're loving comic book references though, there's a few more of them that we can touch on. Writer Ed Brubaker, the man behind the Winter Soldier storyline, appears here. Comic villain Batroc the Leaper takes a beating from Steve Rogers in the opening action sequence, and this guy, Brock Rumlow, becomes heavily scarred at the end of the film, hinting towards his character's transformation into Crossbones, a prominent Captain America adversary and the man who ends up killing him. And speaking of, for those not in the know, after the death of Captain America, Bucky Barnes takes on the mantle, perhaps being foreshadowed in the film with this moment where he holds the iconic shield. Or not, maybe the directors just thought it looked cool. Which it does. Alright, now I'm just going to rattle off what's left. Loki's scepter also appears in the mid-credits scene, probably what's being used to manipulate Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver. Sharon, Steve Rogers' neighbor, is actually the niece of Peggy Carter and one of Steve's love interests from the comics. The movie War Games is also referenced when Scarlett Johansson boots up Zola, as is Sam Jackson's character from Pulp Fiction, as a very famous quote attributed to that character is on his fake grave. There's also a literal Easter egg hidden in this scene. The Hulk also makes an appearance right there. The list Steve Rogers of things he needs to catch up on is specific to whatever country you watch the film in. That's not an Easter egg, no, but you know, it's a nice little touch. In addition to this, Captain America is actually the same Captain America from the first movie and the comics of the same name. Here's another literal Easter egg you might have missed. Robert Redford also has Paul Newman's dressing in his fridge. They were, of course, lifelong friends, and they starred together in Butch Cassidy and the Sundance Kid and The Sting. That one's actually a real one. Black Widow has an arrow pendant around her neck, possibly alluding to a relationship between her and Green Arrow from the TV show Arrow. And finally, there's a 5-minute period in the film where Captain America just has the Superman logo on his chest. How they got away with that? I will never know. Alright, that's it. Now, if I missed anything, which I most certainly have, please list them below. Also, quick heads up, the Weekly Planet podcast this week covers this film in depth, including predictions of where the Marvel franchises will go, seeing as this film is, you know, a bit of a game changer. That'll be linked below along with last week's episode on the history of Captain America in film and how it's terrible. But what's your favourite Marvel Easter egg? There's been a few over the years, but mine's probably the Nick Fury appearance at the end of Iron Man. You can't really go past that. But what's yours? Leave your thoughts below or via my Twitter and Facebook pages, both ending in Mr. Sunday Movies, if you have anything you'd like to share on that. Thanks everyone, take care.